Timbaland is most definitely going through a midlife crisis. You know those episodes of TV where the middle-aged man character, he buys like some fancy car that he was never able to get throughout his life, and now he can afford to do so because he has the time and the money to afford the car, when in reality it's just him, you know, having an existential crisis about like, where has my life gone? What have I become? Not in like a bad way, but like, what have I become? Like, where am I now compared to what I wanted to be when I was, you know, like a teenager, when I had these dreams of having a nice car? Why haven't I gotten that nice car yet? Like, what stopped me from doing that? And now I guess nothing stopped me now, so let me get this nice car. Well, Timbaland is the middle-aged man going through a midlife crisis, and AI is his fancy 1970s Camaro. He is definitely 100% coping with the fact that he just doesn't have the touch with music that he used to have. It's especially apparent when he has certain statements like,
music sound bland, it sound boring, and which, you know, we talk about AI and artificial intelligence, but shuck, that's the only thing that has a pure soul right now.
No, Timbaland, music has a lot of soul. You don't have soul anymore. Timbaland has lost his soul for music, and it's not surprising after having been the king of producing in the 2000s. Like, he produced for Missy Elliot, he produced for Justin Timberlake, he produced for Nelly Furtado. He had all of these hits. He was, dude, you can't go to a single party today without hearing at least one of his hits. Dude, Promiscuous Girl, play that at any event now and people will be going crazy to Promiscuous Girl. But that's probably also the last time he had a hit. I think I looked it up the other day, and the last time he had a hit song was 2011. That was 14 years ago, after spending several years, almost an entire decade, at the top of the charts and definitely leading the new age of music into its new sound that the 2010s had. After that, you hit this hard fall off where not even like, I say, a year or two after your high, you are now spoken about as if you're some sort of legacy producer. Like, you're not even spoken about like, who are the top 5 current producers. Timbaland hasn't been in that conversation for the past 15 years. If you say the top 5 producers ever, Timbaland is easy top 3. Easy top 3. And he was respected as one of the best producers. Even Kanye West has a story about,
when I made Stronger, I did it to compete with Timbaland and Justin Timberlake. We have the song out. It's #1 on Apple. I play it in a club and it sounds muddy. It doesn't sound the way Sexy Back sounded in the club. I go to Timbaland, the person who did Sexy Back.
I can beef it up right now and you're gonna go crazy.
He did it in 5 minutes. And then spent the rest of the hour talking about how nobody could have done it except for him.
But Kanye West went to Timbaland and was like, hey, what's wrong with my sound? Timbaland, I guess, took like 5 minutes, found the right drums, added it, and boom, you had one of the best Kanye West songs ever. So he actually went to Timbaland directly, which is very down to earth, like a very grounded thing to do. Timbaland was just that guy. He was that producer. But now that he's gotten older, now that he's lost the reputation that he had, I wouldn't even say lost the reputation, now that he couldn't upkeep the reputation that he always had, he kind of fell back out of the scene. He took a back burner. He's been part of a few projects in the past, but no like notable songs or albums or anything that anybody could really like name off the top of their head. And then he came to a point where he had to, you know, an existential crisis. What happened? Where am I now? Why have I become this? Like, why was I at the top of everything and now nobody even mentions me? Now I haven't been on the billboards. I haven't been nominated for any awards. I just haven't been around. What happened? And instead of him just, you know, having the self-awareness to be like, okay, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I can't do this. He blamed music as a whole. He thinks that music has no soul. I was just listening to a song, what was it called? Softy by Garrett Sparrow. And it sounds like a mix out of Tyler the Creator, Zach Valaire, Brockhampton. It sounds like all of these artists who were part of my life growing up. And I hear this song, and instead of taking like the old head approach, the boomer approach of, why you listen to that? It sounds just like this person I used to listen to, just listen to that person. It's like, no, if there is something beautiful and that thing inspires more people to create more beautifulness, you can still honor and respect that beautiful. Soul is acquired by inspiration. You're not born with the soul. And when I mean that, I mean like a figurative soul. I don't mean like the religious soul. I mean, any artist who you would say was full of soul, they were inspired by somebody. Michael Jackson was inspired by James Brown. Tyler the Creator was inspired by Pharrell. Kanye West was inspired by whoever he was inspired by. I don't even know who Kanye West was inspired by. Everybody, no matter what the art is inspired by something. That's why I also hate the concept of an original thought. No thought is original. Every single thought is inspired by something. A plane was inspired by birds. A boat was inspired by fish. A submarine inspired by whales. Everything we think about is inspired by something that we have seen that was already created. Now you can come up with a new idea for something, a new concept, but there will always be inspiration from somewhere, and that is how soul is passed down. So it is impossible. If you say that music today has no soul, you're saying music never had any soul. Of course there is soulless music. Of course there are still these charting songs that just feel empty and they feel like anybody could have made it. I hate when songs sound like anybody can make that song. I like songs where it sounds like only that artist could make that song. That's why I'm so hesitant to say that like Drake is one of the goats of hip hop. Like, I feel like a lot of his music, anybody could make that. Not necessarily anybody, but I feel like most of Drake's music, anybody could make that music, which is different when it comes to certain other artists that are in the genre. Timbaland was somebody who had his own specific sound. He made music that only he could make, and I feel like over time he lost that touch. I listened to a song, Glorilla. He had a song on Glorilla's latest album, and I was listening and I was like, this doesn't sound like a Timbaland beat.
They picking, she the top pick. She trending, she the top pick. She pressure, exotic. They want it, she got it.
It just sounds like a beat that Glorilla's rapping on. It doesn't sound like a Glorilla Timbaland song, where if you look back at Take It to the Chorus. Come here, girl. Go ahead, be gone with it. Come to the back. Go ahead, be gone with it. Go ahead, girl. Don't help me go. Those songs, that whole era, every song he has with Justin Timberlake, every single song, Missy Elliot, you will know, if you hear a Missy Elliot beat, you know that it is a Missy Elliot Timbaland song.
Listen to me now, I'm lasting 20 rounds, and if you want me, then come on get me now.
Immediately recognizable, because they had soul in their music. They had soul in those songs. So saying that there is no more soul in music is saying that there has never been any soul in music, which is just projection from Timbaland. Timbaland himself is projecting that he has lost his soul in music. It is part of his existential crisis. It is part of his midlife crisis. It is part of his problem not being able to cope with the fact that he has gotten older and he doesn't have the abilities he used to have. And instead of just being okay with that and being grounded and being like, hey, I can live with my legacy, I can respect that, and I can help the future and new artists and new producers, I can help them become what I once was. He goes, no, I need to re-achieve that power and that soul that I'm missing because I'm sad. One of the most selfish moves, instead of doing something like getting a protege that he can help build up, he turns to AI to fill the holes, fill the gaps that he doesn't have, because at the same time, he can't give that credit to a different artist. He can't give that power to a different artist to be who he was. He needs to be that. He needs to be the king of producing, which when it comes to art, if you want to be the king of a hill in arts, you're ruining art. You're just fucking up art. Art is supposed to be a plateau. Art is supposed to be a prairie where people are running around and gazelles are hopping and there's butterflies and all this shit. Art shouldn't be a mountain where there's one person at the top. Of course, there will always be a best, but a best is subjective and a best can always be replaced. That's why there's even a discussion about who's the best rapper, who's the best singer, who's the best producer. The reason there's a discussion is because there is no best. There is only what can be perceived as the best from specific people. And now Timbaland, he sees like, oh, there's this technology that can make me the best, but technology can't be the best at art. Sometimes I have these moments where I say things that creates a new thought in my head and I have to think about it first. So I'm gonna give you a little insight into what I was just thinking. I said technology can't be the best at art. And then that reminded me of the scene from iRobot where Sonny is drawing the picture. Oh no, Sonny's being interrogated by Will Smith and Will Smith is asking him like,
can a robot write a symphony? Can a robot turn a canvas into a beautiful masterpiece?
Can you?
crazy line. One of the best lines in movies ever. But then that got me thinking, like, my next thought would have been technology can't be the best at art because technology has no soul. But I also said that soul is inspired. Like you to gain soul, you need to be inspired by soul. And if AI is taking information and taking stuff it's seen before and creating something new, does that theoretically count as inspiration? And if so, does that mean that AI can be the best at art potentially? But then you would have to say, like, well, art, you need to come up with something new, and AI can't come up with something new. It can only come up with an accumulation. I don't know where that thought is going. I'm gonna need more time on that thought, but I need to get back on track. I don't know where I went with that. That thought just blew me out of proportion. But I think Timbaland could be Mount Rushmore producers. I don't like that these older legends are ruining their legacies because of their egos, which is hard not to have an ego like that when you are the best. But Timbaland now using AI and making shitty AI music is kind of comparable to Mike Tyson fighting Logan Paul. And Mike Tyson, I guess he was doing it just for some money, for a bag. He got enough money. Didn't need to do that for money. He's relevant enough. He's Mike Tyson. Nobody's gonna forget Mike Tyson. He had no reason to do that besides maybe for himself. The moment that it was announced that he was gonna be fighting Logan Paul, I was like, this is gonna be bad for his reputation. He either wins and nothing changed about his reputation, now he's still just Mike Tyson, or he loses and now his legacy is besmirched by this loss on his card against some random influencer. Timbaland could have finished living his life as one of the best producers of all time, be known as that, and probably still remain that for the rest of all time, and we'd be listening to Promiscuous Girl at my great-great-great-great-granddaughter's wedding. Like, that's how that would have gone. But now he's including AI because he just can't step over his own shadow to allow somebody else to take that role and be that role, and at the same time is missing his youth. He said it himself.
At this stage of my music career, it's my muse. I'm like a kid, like I was 19 years old.
Meaning that through AI, he regained his ability to create music, but since it's not him creating the music and it's AI, there's no soul in it. There used to be soul in his music. You feel it when you hear a beat, when you hear his drums and the drum pattern and all that, you hear and feel the soul in his music. You don't have that. And then he has his stupid AI artist who's like this Asian chick, but not actually because it's a robot, and she's rapping about ducking immigration. Like, dude.
I put ice on my shooter. He gon' duck immigration now.
He got way too detached from reality and way too detached from just normal, regular, everyday life. It's gotta be some sort of psychosis. It's gotta be. How do you go from a genius, a musical genius, one of the most talented people ever, to this?
No one's on some greatness. Public miseducation.
And I'm not pulling all of this out of my ass. This is backed up. The thought that he doesn't want to, I want to say gönnen, which is a German word, but I don't know what it is in English. It's unfortunate that certain words exist in certain languages that just can be translated but don't have the same meaning. He doesn't want to allow future generations to be at the spot he is, because when people started complaining about his AI and calling him out for it, he made more AI calling out people saying that they're just jealous because they can't make the beats like he does.
You worried about AI stealing your sound? Bro, you ain't got one.
There's so much projecting. It's so much projecting. He's saying, I don't have my signature sound anymore. I can't make beats like I used to be able to make, and I'm blaming you for it. He was on his bottom dollar. He was lost hope that he could ever have that touch to make beats anymore. Because, dude, this guy, all he ever did was make beats. You can't do that for 15 years and not feel some sort of way when you aren't charting, when nobody's listening. Especially after everybody was listening for so long. So he lost this touch, and now he has something where he has convinced himself that he has regained this touch and is saying that everybody else just doesn't have that touch because they refuse to use this. Cope. Hard cope. And then his business buddy from whatever company that is, Sonia or I don't even know. Him saying that nobody likes the process of making music.
Suno is a way for everybody to experience all of the joys of music. It's not really enjoyable to make music now. People enjoy
Why'd you say
Suno.
that?
It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice. You need to get really good at an instrument or really good at a piece of production software. I think the majority of people don't enjoy the majority of the time they spend making music.
Detached. That is a statement from somebody who has never had an artistic bone in their body. If you are an artist, if you enjoy making art, if you enjoy creating, you will at least endure every part of that process. And if you don't, you shouldn't be making art. You shouldn't be doing it. I wish I could draw. I wish I could create. Like, I think of so many cool images and creatures and everything. And I just wish I could get a piece of paper and bring it to life. But I can't do that unless I spend the next 5 years practicing. And I don't want to spend the next 5 years practicing. I don't want to spend the next 5 years. I don't want to spend the next 2 months trying to outline and sketch ahead and do the lines and stuff, and at some point struggle making a left eye because the right eye is easier to draw for some reason. And I don't want to do all that, so I'm just not going to do all that, and I need to be okay with that. I need to have the self-awareness and the be comfortable. There's a specific word I was looking for this during the first recording already. I just can't remember it now either. I just need to come to terms with that. I'm just not able to do that. I do the things I'm good at. I'm good at talking. I would say talking is an art. I would say improvising is an art. I can speak out of my ass for 15 hours. That is not something most people can do. That's why I make these videos. I'm okay with making the video. I used to hate editing until I got more and more into it. Now I'm cool with editing. I'm completely content. Content. That's the word I was looking for. I'm completely content with every single process of recording, editing, or even before that, conceptualizing a quasi script, setting up my camera, recording, editing, uploading. I am completely okay with every step of that process. I wanted to be a rapper when I was 17. I hated mixing. I hated mixing music, so I was like, I guess I just won't be a rapper. Of course you can say like, well, you just need the dedication, the determination. I didn't have that, so I didn't do it. Now I rap a little bit every once in a while out of fun. I'm not gonna be a rapper. Maybe one day I'll do like a karaoke rap on stage or something. One of the main reasons I want to be a rapper is to be on stage and just get hype with everybody in the crowd. I can still do that without actually making my own music, but I digress. With this uprising of AI, people need to cope with the fact that they're just not meant to be artists. Why did I say artists like that? They just need to cope with the fact that they can't be artists. Like, they just need to cope with the fact that they don't have the time, fact that it's just not in them sometimes. And it's weird because like art is replaced by that. You don't see anybody trying to extend their legs and their arms so that they can play in the NBA. Everybody respects sports. Like, okay, I guess I'm just too short, or I don't really have a jump shot, or maybe I'm just not that fast. It is what it is. But when it comes to art, hey, this thing can make a picture for me. I'll just do that. And I'm cool with AI. If you're like somebody who, if you don't have the finances or the time or like the physical capabilities to do these things, then I'm completely cool with AI being used as a tool, like as an assistant, help you to make the things that you are. Timbaland, he has it in him. You don't lose your soul. In the music industry, not so sure about that. But he definitely has the capability to regain his ability to make the most amazing beats. He still has that. He's just too lazy or too down in the dirt, or maybe he's just mentally blocked himself from doing so. But using AI as a crutch in that moment, it's like, come on, man. I will never front on somebody who can't walk for using a wheelchair. I will front on those dumbasses in Walmart that are riding around on the Jazzies, and then when they order their Doritos and 10 bags of chips and 3 gallons of ranch dressing, and then they go up to their car and they just walk off off of it and walk up to their, like, waddle to their car, I'll bash that to the end of my days. Especially being aware that there are people who actually aren't capable of moving that way and need the accessibility, and that's what those are for. And you're here because you're too lazy to take a few steps? Come on, like, get out of here. Same with Timbaland. I'm completely cool with somebody using AI to assist them, and if I was still making music, I would maybe use AI to mix my music, because it's not creating the music, it's adjusting, it's a tool, it's an assistant. Of course, it's taking away jobs from people that can mix music, but what are they doing? At this point, the difference between me using AI to mix music and sending my music to a mixer to mix it, he's also just using AI. Why the extra steps? Horrible, toxic mentality towards AI and the usage of AI. I will be affected by it myself at some point. It's a horrible conversation, but still. Timbaland is rotting and cannot cope with the fact that he's rotting. He wasn't content with being a legacy, a legend. He wanted to be the biggest thing, but that's just, you can't forever. You just can't do that. Look at Andre 3000. That's the opposite end of the spectrum. Andre 3000 said that he's not going to make a rap album because a big part of hip hop is being hip to what's going on. And as a 50-year-old, he's not hip.
I'm 48 years old, and not to say that age is a thing that dictates what you rap about, but in a way it does. And like things that happen in my life, like what do you talk, like I gotta go get a colonoscopy, like what do you rap about? You know what I mean? Like my eyesight is going bad. Like
Killer Mike dropped one of the best albums of last year. You may be too old to be the best, but you'll never be too old to try.